We will go high. Love, grace, humility will win. And then you tell everybody to go to hell. You think that's going to work for you, Coach White? Think that's going to work for you? The reality of the situation is none of that stuff will win if it's left up to you, Stephanie White. Because you're not handling it right. You playing right into their hands. Right into their hands.
What happens when Stephen A. Smith stops analyzing the Indiana Fever and starts directly questioning Stephanie White's leadership? A heated controversy involving Sophie Cunningham, DJ Carrington, and a disputed coaching decision has now placed White under an uncomfortable spotlight, while Caitlin Clark and her teammates seem prepared to defend her. But what exactly did Stephen A. see that made him challenge White so bluntly? And could this confrontation reveal a much deeper problem inside Indiana?
Player safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected.
Stephen A. Smith has just turned the Indiana Fever's latest controversy into something much bigger, because this time the question is not simply whether Stephanie White made a poor judgment call.
Embracing the reality of the tense situation that the WNBA, and especially you as the coach of the Indiana Fever, is involved in. There are folks in Indiana at a home game booing you. You ain't the road team, you the home team, you the home coach, and they booing you. And Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark can speak up for you all they want to, as they did, and as they should have.
The question is whether the Fever coach has lost the confidence of the very people she is supposed to lead, and Stephen A. Smith is now demanding answers that are becoming harder and harder to avoid.
White, I've been a defender, the coach of the Fever. Get her out of there. Get her out of there. Fire her ass today. I don't want her back on that bench. Stop defending the other players. Oh, she plays hard, DJ. That's just her being her. You see Caitlin in the press conference almost cover her ears and her eyes. Defend your players. First of all, you're wrong. It was a dirty play. She's gone. But when do you ever see in like the NBA a coach not defend their own players? She hasn't done it with Caitlin when Caitlin got punched in the throat.
Controversy started with a play that somehow generated more drama than some entire WNBA games. During the Indiana Fever's August 8th matchup against the Chicago Sky, DJ Carrington was ejected after making contact with Sophie Cunningham around the head and neck area on a breakaway play. The officials ruled the foul a flagrant 2, which meant Carrington was sent out of the game immediately.
What happened when this young lady got ejected from a WNBA game the other day for a flagrant foul on Sophie Cunningham? Did y'all see that? She got ejected from the game for that flagrant foul right there. And I'll be damned if that wasn't a flagrant 2. She mugged her. Damn near came across like decapitating her, for crying out loud. That was definitely a hard foul. Make no mistake about it. Nobody can argue about it. You can say what you want. We know what we saw. No way around it. Dijonai Carrington foul was clearly unnecessary. It was a flagrant foul penalty too. It was absolutely positively correct.
That should have been the end of the basketball story. There was a hard foul, the officials reviewed it, a decision was made, and everyone could move on, except no one moved on. Instead, the incident erupted into a much broader argument involving player safety, coaching, social media, race, politics, fan loyalty, and eventually Stephanie White's future in Indiana. Suddenly, the Fever were no longer just dealing with what happened on the court. They were dealing with what their own coach said about it afterward. That explanation might sound reasonable until you understand why so many people were not convinced. Because cameras do not care about press conferences, personal relationships, or carefully chosen explanations. They simply capture what happened, and the footage circulating online has given critics plenty of material to question Stephanie White's version of the incident, involving Dijonai Carrington and Sophie Cunningham. That has created an uncomfortable contradiction between what viewers believe they saw and what White said she saw. Online discussions have focused heavily on whether her explanation matched the available footage. And that is exactly where Stephen A. Smith entered the conversation.
Crossroads that Stephanie is stuck in is she knows Dijonai is a good person, but now she's coaching people who are likely taking money from the Heritage Foundation, has a large MAGA racist fan base, and they didn't like that she defended Dijonai.
Take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back.
Smith did not approach the issue as though it were merely a debate over whether a foul should have been upgraded from a common foul to a flagrant. Instead, he targeted the larger question of leadership, and that distinction matters because his criticism was aimed at White's responsibility as the head coach of the Indiana Fever. His argument was essentially that if you are the head coach, watching the game is not some optional side mission. You are supposed to know what is happening on the floor, recognize when one of your players has taken a dangerous hit, and understand when a situation demands an immediate response. When one of your players is left on the floor after a violent collision, fans naturally expect the coach to react before someone on social media has time to upload 3 camera angles and add dramatic music, creating yet another layer of scrutiny around the situation. That connection has fueled speculation from people who believe White's familiarity with Carrington may have influenced the way she interpreted the play. However, that theory also needs to be handled carefully, because knowing a player does not automatically mean a coach will defend everything that player does.
It's a flagrant 2 every single damn time in the NBA and the WNBA. But you know things have devolved when you've got the Attorney General for the state of Florida saying that's why WNBA games ain't here because guess what? We are the prosecutor. Attorney General James Uthmeyer, the WNBA knows better than to play games down here in Florida because I'll be charging people with assault. I should probably clarify. Assault and battery. That is from the Attorney General of the state.
Spend years working with athletes, learning their personalities, understanding their tendencies, and building relationships that can continue long after the player leaves the team. White's supporters can reasonably argue that she was describing what she believed she saw at game speed rather than deliberately protecting a former player. Her critics, however, are asking a different question, and it is one that is much harder to dismiss. Would White have responded the same way if the situation involved someone she had never coached? That question has become one of the biggest reasons this controversy refuses to go away, because once trust becomes part of the conversation, every explanation starts being examined under a microscope. Then another moment changed the temperature entirely. White addressed the growing criticism before the Fever faced the New York Liberty, and instead of delivering the carefully polished statement coaches usually give when controversy surrounds their team, White essentially told her critics to go to hell. There was something almost beautifully chaotic about speaking about grace and humility before essentially telling your critics they can take a long walk in the opposite direction. It is the kind of statement that sounds like 2 completely different personalities were fighting for control of the microphone.
They're not. You're wrong, but it starts to make me think you care more about the overlying social issues and not pissing off other people in the league and saying men can play in the league because she's one of those players. Coaches, when asked, always is taking the far left side of it. This isn't politics. Your player got assaulted. Defend your player in the press conference. Be like, yeah, that was a dirty play. She should have hit the showers. She acts like she's the coach of the other team. I don't care if she's the best X's and O's when she's not. Get her the hell out of there. Either defend your players or get